Welcome to my views and news. Two news stories for you. First one is from Oromia, where OLA, Oromo Liberation Army, has captured dozens of Ethiopian army soldiers. Pictures, videos are being shared by pro OLA sources. OLA spokesperson confirmed two engagements with the security forces in central and western Oromia. Has peace process completely collapsed in Oromia? The OLA spokesperson accused the government of duplicity. Details for you. Secondly, viewers, Humera. Second meeting was held in Humera in the last 1 week or so. A few days ago, Colonel Zadu was seen with locals. They they discussed the release of no funds from the government and how to make use of indigenous resources. Now, another meeting in Humera. Zadu was there. Investors are being convinced to invest in Humera, reportedly. Firstly, viewers, peace talks were held between OLA and Ethiopian government representatives in Tanzania. When the first round of talks came to a close, the two sides said that they were committed to the peace process and that they would continue these engagements of dialogue. But after that, we have seen several rounds of clashes between OLA and Ethiopian government forces. Just 3 to 4 days ago, OLA confirmed clashes in Vashava, Jeldo, Vashava and East Shava. And OLA showed a few security officials as well taken a prisoner by the organization. The government remained silent. The government did not issue any statement. OLA spokesperson confirmed the engagements. Now, another claim, pictures, videos being shared by OLA-backed sources. Heavy fighting erupted between OLA and Ethiopian government forces in two zones. One in central Oromia and the other in western Oromia. Dozens of Ethiopian army soldiers have been captured. They've been taken prisoner by the Oromo Liberation Army. First engagement happened in Metavalkite, which is in Vashava. And here OLA claimed that security forces attacked OLA's positions and OLA's units, Badho Dachas, Magarsa Bari and Bakalcha Bari brigades, they repelled the government's offensive and government forces were forced to retreat to their camps. Number of deaths and casualties, deaths and injured shared by the OLA indicates that it wasn't just a small-scale clash. OLA claims that 94 government soldiers were killed in this escalation, 71 were injured and 50 taken prisoner. If the numbers are correct, anywhere close to correct, it means that it wasn't a small scale clash. Second clash happened in Horogodoro, Valaga. It happened in Horogodoro, in which 75 government soldiers were killed according to the Oromo Liberation Army official sources. 100 were injured and 35 were taken prisoner. And OLA has shared details of some weapons like rifles captured from government forces by OLA fighters. So, you see that after the conclusion of first round of talks between OLA and government forces, clashes have resumed clashes are now turning into large-scale fighting, both in central and western Oromia. OLA spokesperson accused the government of duplicity. Oda Turbi confirmed these two developments in Vashava and Horogodoro, and confirming the clashes, he said that government was speaking a language of peace for the international community, but on the ground it was pursuing an aggressive military action. Civilians are dying, and government angry is taking revenge on civilians. So, though we cannot say peace process has completely collapsed, but all signs are there that the two sides could not make considerable progress in Zanzibar, Tanzania. And my reading of the first peace talks session was that OLA's demands were political demands. For those demands to be met, you need to have involvement of other political players too, maybe other regions too. Talks cannot be finalized in just one or two sittings. It will be a long process, it seems. But if fighting continues, if the two sides can't ensure somewhat stability, a ceasefire-like situation, obviously talks can collapse anytime. And if the first round of talks had made some progress, we would have seen some change on the ground in terms of restraint on both sides. Restraint is missing, rather the two sides are accusing each other. Mainly OLA is accusing the government forces. Government is largely silent. I think Ethiopian federal government, Oromo government, they should take the people on board. What is happening in Oromia? Has the peace process collapsed? Has the government decided to launch a full-scale operation in Oromia? Government has launched several operations against OLA in the past, involving regional forces from Oromia region, from neighboring regions too, involving federal forces as well. Kenya-Ethiopia border was manned, it was closed. Ethiopia-Sudan, Ethiopia-South Sudan border was closed. Ethiopian officials visited neighboring countries, Kenya, Sudan, South Sudan. So they tried to crush OLA in the past. Have the government soldiers launched a full-scale operation in Oromia? We'll have to wait and see. So far, the fragile peace deal is collapsing if there is no intervention. Secondly, was Humera, second meeting in Humera in almost a week by a temporary administration established in Humera. Humera, Sagade Volkait is under a temporary administration led by Colonel Damaik Zadu, another, he is deputy administrator. Damaik Zadu fought for years for this zone to be part of the Amhara region. He was imprisoned as well when TPLF was in power, part of EPRDF, but he continued his struggle, and in the 2-year-long war he fought in this region, leading his fighters here. He is there, and he is the most vocal supporter of this zone being part of the Amhara region. A meeting was held in Humera a few days ago when Damaik Zadu local administration held a meeting with the residents of Humera and neighboring areas, and they discussed how to activate local resources because federal and regional governments are not allocating funds for western zone because the zone is disputed between Tigray and Amhara regions. So that is why second meeting was held yesterday in Humera, chaired by Damaik Zadu, administrator of the region. Now, this temporary government is trying to involve investors. Farming season starting, this area is very fertile, known for sesame and other crops production. And one of the reasons behind dispute over Humera Volkaya Sagade is the strategic location, and secondly the fertility. It's a very productive area. And now when rainy season is going to start, it means that farmers will have to farm their land. They need fertilizer, they need seeds, etc. Government has not allocated any funds. That is why Damakazadu is trying to involve investors, Amhara investors, to invest in Humera. Who will invest in Humera, Sagade Volkayat? Businessmen only invest if they have the green light from the government. They don't risk their investments. Amhara investors are already under pressure. Ethiopian government has frozen accounts of some Amhara investors and Amhara companies a few days ago. Star Business Group and others, their accounts were frozen. Why? Because they were accused of supporting groups, organizations allegedly working to topple the government. So it would be difficult for Damakazadu to convince investors to invest in Humera Sagade. But Damakazadu is clearly sending a message to the Tigray regional government, to the federal government as well, that he is here. No matter funds are allocated or not, he will try to be here to lead the zone by involving Amhara investors. Will Amhara investors come to the rescue of this transitional temporary government in Humera? That will see. So far, meetings have been held only in Humera, reportedly. Thank you for watching.